I don't know if the referees could have prevented the Sophie Cunningham injury. I'm going to be honest with that. I don't know if the referees could have done it. I don't know if it was intentional from Bria Hartley. I think if it was anyone other than Bria Hartley or Marina Mabry on the Sun team, everyone would have just said, no, it's not intentional. It was completely...
The Cunningham family just dropped a legal bombshell that has the WNBA scrambling behind closed doors. Sophie Cunningham's sister and mother are threatening to sue the entire league. And honestly, they might have the strongest case we've seen in years. What started as another heartbreaking injury on Sunday has exploded into...
Right here, we got Sophie's sister Lindsay and her mom Paula. At WNBA, maybe you should focus less on fining players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are able to call a consistent game, protect your athletes. Pathetic. Praying for you, Sophie Cunningham. Yeah, officially, my two favorite players in this league that I really love to, particularly love to pull for, they're both out now. And it did not...
Full-scale family revolt that could change everything about how this league operates. Look, I'll be completely honest with you right now. I don't know if the referees could have prevented Sophie Cunningham's devastating injury. That's the brutal...
There are players that cannot be replaced, and there are an abundance of players that no one gives a shit about. If you're the WNBA, common sense would dictate that you do everything in your power to protect your star players. You do everything you can to protect your assets. But for some reason, this dump of a league seems to protect anonymous faces over the pretty faces. They protect the players who are injuring the players that people are paying.
Truth. I don't know if they saw it coming. And I definitely don't know if Bria Hartley intended to destroy Sophie's, neither way she did. But here's what I do know. If this exact same collision happened with literally any other player in the league, everyone would be calling it a freak accident. The problem is, it wasn't any other player. It was Bria Hartley, and that changes everything. The WNBA...
Dirty Bria, of course. It had to be a dirty Bria. I would really hate to see ya in a dark alley. Dirty Bria Hartley back at it again with her shenanigans, and this time around she had her eyes set on one Sophie the Trophy Cunningham. Sophie, get well soon. Hopefully the MRI later today shows nothing too serious. Would love to see you back on the court. Bria Hartley dives for Sophie Cunningham's knees, doesn't even try to avoid the collision, doesn't try to move out the way. Bria Hartley sees Sophie's legs and says, that's the direction I'm going to fall in, even though...
Wants you to believe their biggest problems are half-empty arenas and mediocre television ratings. They're wrong. Dead wrong. The real crisis destroying this league from the inside out is something far more sinister. Referees who have completely abandoned their responsibility.
Player, and boy did it show up again today. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, and hit that bell notification. Listen, Sophie Cunningham was targeted, y'all. I'm telling you right now, Sophie Cunningham was targeted by Bria Hartley, and it just is what it is. It is what it is. I don't want to sit here and play games and act like, you know, she wasn't. She was targeted by Bria Hartley, and that's just the fact of the matter. And people can act like it's not all they want. I told you guys this girl was a dirty player, and that's all she did today was show how dirty she is.
To protect players from an injury epidemic that's reached catastrophic levels. We're not just talking about the Indiana Fever anymore. Every single team across the WNBA is watching their rosters get decimated while officials stand around like deer in headlights. Sophie Cunningham's family has officially...
I think when it comes to Bria Hartley, I don't know if the intent is there, but she's completely reckless. Like, there are some players you can tell the intent is there when they have to go out of their way to, like, I think when it comes to Alyssa Thomas, you can tell when she hits someone hard that the intent is there. You can tell that she wants to hurt some, or maybe not hurt somebody, but she wants to rough them up. Bria Hartley, I don't know. She might just be completely out of control. So that's something like completely reckless is fine. And then Sophie Cunningham's sister. Maybe you should focus less on fining players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are able to call a consistent game and protect your athletes. Pathetic. Praying for you, so Fowler.
Enough of this madness. Her sister Lindsay and mother Paula fired shots directly at the league headquarters that you could probably hear from space. Paula went straight for the jugular, posting on social media that the WNBA should focus less on fining players for commenting on poor officiating and more about hiring officials who can actually call a consistent game and protect their athletes. She called the entire situation pathetic, and honestly, she's not wrong. When mothers are publicly praying for their daughters while simultaneously threatening legal warfare against a professional sports...
Oh, Cunningham is down. My goodness.
You can literally hear her screaming in pain. It's so heartbreaking. Indiana Fever star guard Sophie Cunningham, the enforcer, had a lower leg injury today against the Connecticut Suns. It happened on this play. She's helping on defense, steps up, gets her legs tangled, goes down, ruled out for the game. The severity of the injury is right now unknown, but she had to be helped off the court.
League. You know something has gone catastrophically wrong. This injury hit me personally because Sophie Cunningham and caitlinclark have become my two favorite players to watch in this league. The heart, the passion, the pure basketball IQ. These are the players who make you fall in love with the game all over again. And now both of them are sitting on the sidelines, casualties of a system that's completely broken. Sophie Cunningham's injury isn't some random accident that...
And Sophie's mother, Paula Hartley, is a disgruntled player having trouble everywhere she goes. She's playing mean and plays out of control. So, what can you say? I do not blame Sophie's mother and sister for being upset. Marina Mabrey went nuts in this game, scored 27.
From the basketball gods. This was the inevitable result of a league where referees blow their whistles at ghost fouls while going completely blind when real danger unfolds right in front of their faces. They'll call a ticky-tack touch foul on one end of court, then watch a player get bulldozed into next week without batting an eye. It's backwards, it's dangerous, and it's destroying the careers of players who deserve so much better. Here's what really makes my blood boil about this whole situation. The WNBA operates like they don't understand basic business principles. There are players in this league who cannot be replaced. Sophie Cunningham is one of them. Then there are players who, let's be honest, no one really cares about. Common sense would tell you to do everything in your power to protect your star players, your assets, the faces that put butts in seats and eyes on screens. But this league seems determined to protect the anonymous faces over the pretty faces, the players who are injuring the very athletes that fans are paying to see. Sophie Cunningham has been an absolute warrior.
I don't know how the Indiana Fever can continue to survive these things. Here you see Sophie Cunningham laid out on the floor, holding her knee. The lady was in tears, crying as Lexi Hall approached her to help her through this situation. I don't know if it's her knee. I don't know if it's her Achilles, the way she was kind of dragging her foot. I don't know. But Bria Hartley has had dirty plays all season. You got to know who we're talking about. Bria Hartley is the same girl. Bria Hartley is the same woman that pulled Angel Reese out of there by her ponytail.
Throughout her entire career, this woman doesn't know how to quit, doesn't know how to take the easy road, and has consistently shown up to perform at the highest level night after night. She's not injury prone. That's not who she is. But of course, in the same season where caitlinclark has been getting beat up more than a practice dummy, where the Indiana Fever has had to bring in several new players just to field a complete team, naturally Sophie gets taken out too. The timing would be comedic if it weren't so absolutely tragic. This isn't a coincidence, people. This is a pattern, and it's a dangerous one that's been building all season long. Dirty Bria Hartley strikes again. And honestly, I would hate to run into her in a dark alley after what we witnessed on Sunday. Bria Hartley and her shenanigans have reached a whole new level. And this time she had her sights set on Sophie, the trophy Cunningham. Get well soon, Sophie. Hopefully that MRI shows nothing too serious, because we need you back on that court. Let's talk about what actually happened during this collision, because the video footage tells a story that should terrify every player in this league. Bria Hartley doesn't just bump into Sophie Cunningham by accident. She dives directly for Sophie's knees, doesn't even attempt to avoid the collision, doesn't try to move out of the way. Hartley sees Sophie's legs and decides that's exactly where she's going to plant herself. She made a conscious choice to go through Sophie instead of around her, and the result was devastating. The Cunningham family isn't holding back anymore.
This is a play where Sophie Cunningham is dribbling toward the baseline. As you can see, she catches the ball in the wing, dribbles down, and then JC Sheldon kind of body checks her out of bounds, but the referee didn't call a foul there. He just called it an out of bounds. Like Sophie Cunningham ran out of bounds is what he called. So you watch her here, dribbles, pushed out of bounds. Sophie's like, oh, of course, it's going to be a foul. No, it wasn't. That wasn't a foul. This one, she actually quote tweeted herself. As you can see, she's running up and then Hartley kind of elbows her in the neck and Sophie falls to the ground. Now she reposted this and she said, they said I flopped, LOL. So I guess the referees told her that she flopped on that play, or the players, who knows. Somebody told her that she flopped on that play. This is Aaliyah Boston and Tina Charles, and they are battling in the post. And then you can see,
and honestly, good for them. They've reached their breaking point with this nonsense, and they're calling it exactly what it is. A league that prioritizes finding players for speaking truth to power over actually protecting the athletes who put their bodies on the line every single night. When families are ready to take on an entire professional sports organization, the situation has spiraled completely out of control. Sophie was targeted by Bria Hartley. I'm telling you right now, without any hesitation, Sophie Cunningham was deliberately targeted, and that's just the fact of the matter. People can act like it's not true all they want, but I've been warning everyone about this girl being a dirty player, and today she showed exactly how dirty she really is. Lindsay Cunningham.
WNBA has an issue with dirty play in this league. Dirty play skill masked as dirty play. It's disgusting. Bria Hartley doesn't even deserve to be on a roster in this league. Sophie Cunningham's family saying, what's going on here? You guys are calling out Sophie Cunningham, finding Sophie Cunningham for calling out the officiating. Meanwhile, you're letting players just take dives at each other's. Again, Bria Hartley deserves zero benefit of the doubt in this instance.
Cunningham went absolutely nuclear on social media, blasting the WNBA with surgical precision that would make a team of lawyers proud. Her message was crystal clear. Maybe the league should focus less on finding players for commenting on poor officiating and more about hiring officials who can actually call a consistent game and protect their athletes. She called the entire situation pathetic. And honestly, that might be the most accurate assessment of WNBA officiating we've heard all season. When it comes to Bria Hartley, I genuinely don't know if the malicious intent is always there, but she's completely reckless in a way that makes everyone around her unsafe. There are some players where you can tell the intent is obvious. They go out of their way to make contact. They want to rough people up. With Hartley, she might just be completely out of
Indiana Fever, because Sophie Cunningham has been somebody, she has been the glue of this team since Caitlin has been out. She is playing so incredibly well during the second half of this season. She plays hard every single night. She's super tough. She doesn't make excuses. Like, she is somebody who has really held this team together, and seeing her go down in the first half, like, I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what it was at first when I saw her went down. So let's break down the done. Like, they just can't get out of it. The morale of the team is done. Seeing Sophie go down, like, maybe this team just doesn't have any fight left in them. And I was actually ready to give them a pass as well. I was like, you know what? It's been a hard season. And at some point you might just have to throw in the towel and be like, you know what? We will get after it next season.
Which is almost worse because you can't predict chaos. What happened on Sunday against the Connecticut Sun was absolutely devastating to witness. Sophie Cunningham, the Indiana Fever's enforcer, and one of the few players actually showing heart on that roster, was defending the baseline when Bria Hartley came barreling toward the basket like a freight train with broken brakes. Hartley loses control. Shocking, I know, and crashes directly into Cunningham's right knee with the force of a small vehicle. Sophie immediately crumples to the floor, clutching her knee in visible agony, tears streaming down her face as Fever staff rush to provide aid. You can literally hear her screaming in pain through the broadcast audio, and it's absolutely heartbreaking to watch. The collision wasn't some split-second basketball play that went
On
wrong.
the officiating, we hear the concerns, we take that input. Every play is reviewed, spend hours and hours and hours. Obviously, we use that then to follow up with officials, training. Consistency is important, I think. I think some people who observe our game versus other basketball formats are that there aren't a ton of fouls called, but I realize consistency is the name of the game. So I think it's something we definitely, Doug, look at and evaluate, and there's an independent evaluation of our officials. There are ramifications. It's something we need to continue to work on.
This was Hartley doing what she apparently does best, playing completely out of control and leaving destruction in her wake. Sophie's mother, Paula Cunningham, didn't mince words when she described Hartley as a disgruntled player who has trouble everywhere she goes. She's plain mean and plays out of control, and honestly, the receipts are stacking up faster than parking tickets in downtown Chicago. Let's talk about the elephant in the room that's been stomping around the WNBA all season long. This league has an injury epidemic that would make a medieval battlefield surgeon uncomfortable. Lucas Schaefer, who conducted an actual PhD study on WNBA epidemiology, has documented 77 injuries in the 2025 season alone, with 20 of those being knee injuries specifically. To put that in perspective, that should terrify every fan. The league is on track to absolutely shatter the 203 total injuries from all of 2024, and we're not even close to playoff time yet. But instead of addressing this absolute carnage happening on their courts, what does the WNBA do? They fined Sophie Cunningham $500 for a TikTok video that dared to call out referee and
Caitlinclark and Sophie Cunningham. It is extremely difficult to be positive about the WNBA. One of those stars has been injured all season, and it's highly unlikely that she is going to return this year. Sophie Cunningham has stepped up and carried the league in the absence of the Great White Hope, but now she's injured too. Many believe that their injuries are a result of dirty play. Throughout the season, fans and WNBA players, they have been begging the league to crack down on dirty players. But the diva of Dump Divas, Kat Engelbert, she is either incapable or she is unwilling to protect her star player.
competence. They slapped her with another $1,500 fine for having the audacity to question officiating standards on her podcast. The league's message couldn't be clearer if they hired a skywriter. Shut up, play hurt, and don't you dare point out that the emperors of officiating have no clothes. Sophie has been averaging nearly 26 minutes per game this season, contributing 89 points and 36 rebounds, while serving as the Fever's emotional backbone. She's the player that fans actually connect with, not the Instagram influencer wannabes who treat the court like their personal runway show, but someone who genuinely lives and breathes basketball. Her absence forces Indiana to dig even deeper into an already decimated rotation that's held together with prayer and athletic tape. The Indiana Fever are currently hanging on to a playoff spot with a 19-17 record, but with Clark still sidelined and now Cunningham questionable for their crucial matchup against Minnesota, their postseason hopes are hanging by the thinnest possible thread. Caitlinclark has been sidelined for 19 of 32 possible games this season, with various groin and quad injuries. The Fever already lost guards Aari McDonald and Sydney Carlson to season-ending injuries. Now Sophie, the one consistent presence holding this injury-ravaged roster together, gets knocked out by yet another accidental collision that referees somehow didn't see coming. Here's the most infuriating part of this entire situation. While players are getting demolished on the court like crash test dummies, WNBA referees operate with complete impunity. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert talks a big game about valuing feedback and dedicating extensive hours to reviewing officiating. But the proof is in the pudding, or in this case, the ever-growing injury list that reads like a medical journal. The league has established what amounts to a protection racket for officials, where any criticism results in immediate financial punishment for players who dare to speak up. Sophie Cunningham perfectly summarized the absurdity when she said that fining her $500 isn't going to change anything. She's absolutely right. The WNBA would rather silence dissent than address the fundamental problem of inconsistent, dangerous officiating that's turning games into injury lotteries where nobody knows who's going home on a stretcher. The fan response to Cunningham's injury tells you everything you need to know about where this league is headed, and it's not pretty.